Imagine walking into a room on the morning of August 7th, 2023, in Henderson, Nevada. The first thing that hits you is the air, a searing chemical vapor. It's this aggressive, acrid tang of bleach mixed with ammonia. It immediately irritates your eyes, constricts your throat.
Yeah, you'd know something was terribly wrong right away.
And you find your son, Jonathan Willett, on the bed, tightly wrapped, almost mummified, in this stiff, deeply discolored bedding. You pull the covers back, and his head is gone.
And that horrific, visceral discovery by Jonathan's mother, Yoko Willette, is somehow not the craziest or most calculated part of this story.
It's almost unbelievable to say that.
What we're unpacking today is a
Oh.
case defined not just by shocking violence, but by extreme, cold-blooded premeditation and a toxic web of deceit that define the motive.
So let's get into it, because for you, the listener, our mission is to dive deep into the 2023 homicide of Jonathan Willett. This deep dive will analyze the case file. A crime defined by calculated violence, a truly unprecedented chemical cleanup attempt, and the jaw-dropping family arrangement that supplied the motive.
And what's immediately chilling is the level of effort that was required just to stage this scene. I mean, the initial response from the Henderson Police Department, it was stalled almost instantly.
Because of the air, right, the toxicity.
The sheer toxicity of the atmosphere, they couldn't go in.
Exactly. Let's focus on that chemical signature because it's such a critical piece of evidence. At 8:30 a.m., when Yoko Willette entered that room, the source material confirms this wasn't a minor spill.
Oh, no. This was a massive, deliberate application of common household chemicals, ammonia, and chlorine bleach to pour at the same time.
And that's the crucial point.
It is. When you mix those two agents, they rapidly generate chloramine gas, which is highly toxic and extremely corrosive.
So the perpetrator wasn't just trying to clean.
No, they effectively weaponized the cleaning process, turning the room into a biohazard zone. This was a methodical, protracted attempt to neutralize, obliterate, or chemically burn any trace biological evidence.
Which means the police had to, what, call in a special team?
They had to summon specialized hazmat crews before the standard crime scene unit could even begin processing the area.
So the scene itself was a planned obstacle to justice. And when those stiff, chemical-soaked layers of blankets were finally removed, the horror of the violence was confirmed. Jonathan Willett, 46, was lying supine, violently and surgically severed at the neck.
And that brings us to the most defining and disturbing element of all, the complete calculated absence of the head.
It wasn't just a brutal act of rage.
No, it was a deliberate removal of the victim's identity and the primary source of forensic evidence about the killing blow. Investigators theorized almost immediately the perpetrator treated it like garbage.
Just refuse.
Yeah, intended for the vast Apex landfill outside Las Vegas. The missing element speaks volumes about the killer's cold-blooded effort to obstruct the entire investigation.
So who could do something like this? Who possessed the calculated malice to perform such a gruesome act and then follow it with such a meticulous chemical cleanup?
The investigation very quickly centered on Jonathan's tumultuous, longtime partner and co-parent, Devyn Michaels, also 46.
She was the mother of his two young daughters.
She was. And her profile, which included prior work in the adult film industry, well, that unfortunately added immediate sensationalism. It ensured intense media scrutiny from the moment her name surfaced.
And her story to the police? It didn't match the scene at all.
Not even close. She claimed self-defense. Initially, she said she struck him with a stick, but that story just didn't hold up. She later made a critical adjustment to detectives, admitting she used a wooden spoon.
A wooden spoon.
And crucially, that her intent wasn't murder. She reportedly told police she only wanted to hurt him enough that he would have to go to the hospital.
And why? What was the reason?
Because she needed him out of the way to arrange her children's lives.
Okay, so the story goes from reactive self-defense to admitting she just wanted to hurt him enough to get him out of the house for logistical, strategic reasons.
Exactly.
Does that shift immediately disqualify her self-defense claim? I mean, does that move it straight toward first-degree murder in the eyes of the prosecution?
Absolutely. The moment she frames the action as strategic, I needed him out of the way, the defense of spontaneous rage just dissolves. It transitions the act from reactive violence to a strategic maneuver. It proves premeditation.
And the physical evidence backed that up.
Oh, it did. During the search of her vehicle, they found Jonathan Willett's bloody personal cell phone.
In her car?
In her car. Forensics confirmed it was the victim's blood on the device. This placed her in possession of critical evidence in the post-mortem window, showing she was active and mobile while concealing the crime.
And the murder weapon.
Well, the missing cutting implement kind of sealed the deal on the true severity of the act. While processing the kitchen, investigators noted a heavy-gauge meat cleaver was missing.
And given the kind of surgical violence we're talking about?
That cleaver was tagged as the primary tool. The fact that the murder weapon was intentionally removed and disposed of, that shows clear planning, not panic.
So the evidence of cold intent was solid, but it's the truly bizarre and horrifying family dynamic that they uncovered that provides the real engine for the motive here.
This is the part of the story that is it's beyond belief.
It's the kind of twist that defines this case. You have to understand the shocking layer of betrayal at the heart of this crime.
Okay, but pause. You're telling me she was the victim's girlfriend and his daughter-in-law at the same time?
That is exactly what the records show. Devyn Michaels was not only Jonathan Willette's lover and co-parent, but she was legally married to his adult son, Devyn Willette, who was 29 years old.
Oh my God.
The marriage certificate was dated 2021. The sheer depravity of this toxic triangulation is it's stunning.
So she held the simultaneous roles of lover, co-parent to the children, and legal spouse and daughter-in-law to the victim. This meant the victim, Jonathan, was directly related to the person who was his chief rival for her affection.
And when detectives questioned the son, Devyn, about this arrangement, he tried to cover it up. He claimed the marriage was purely for insurance and logistical convenience.
But the digital evidence, I'm guessing, told a very different story.
A completely different story. Once they accessed their devices, that facade just crumbled. Texts, emails, social media exchanges between Devyn and Devyn provided irrefutable proof of a deep, passionate romantic relationship.
So this wasn't a marriage of convenience.
Not at all. They were actively planning a future together as a true romantic partnership. They intended to cohabitate and raise the children.
And that clandestine partnership between the son and the stepmother-turned-wife gives us the crystal clear motive. Jonathan Willett was the obstacle.
He was the obstacle. He was trying to reconcile, to move back into the home, to stabilize his relationship with Michaels for the sake of their young daughters.
And for Devyn Michaels and Devyn, Jonathan's return was, as the prosecution later argued, a catastrophe that would completely ruin the exclusive, complex life they were carefully constructing together.
Chief Prosecutor John Giordani later summarized the motive perfectly. He said Michaels wanted a future with Devyn and the children, and the only way to have that future was with John out of the picture.
So this moves the crime from a domestic dispute
to a chillingly rational, strategic decision driven by this perverse family logic.
And that strategic decision is what defines the horrific post-mortem sequence. Once Willett was killed, Michaels immediately engaged in the deliberate process of concealment.
The dismemberment.
Yes. We know the missing cleaver was likely used, and sources indicate she probably employed a mechanical saw as well to complete the gruesome task.
The sheer brutality of it is one thing, but removing the head, that serves a dual purpose, right?
It does. It makes quick identification nearly impossible, and it provides the ultimate defilement of the victim.
And this is where we return to her chilling confession about the disposal.
Devyn Michaels detailed the final steps. She allegedly placed the severed head into a laundry basket for containment and easy transport.
To avoid attracting attention.
Exactly. And then she just tossed it into a residential dumpster or trash bin.
That final calculated act ensured the head was carried away by waste services, likely deposited into the vast, inaccessible reaches of the Clark County landfill. It just illustrates this deliberate, cold-blooded effort to obstruct justice.
And to prevent a complete forensic reconstruction of the killing blow.
So even with the overwhelming weight of the evidence, the secret marriage, the clear motive, the bloody phone, the chemical decontamination, she still tried to get a deal.
She did. Devyn Michaels briefly took a plea deal for second-degree murder in July 2024, which could have gotten her a potential 15-year sentence.
But she backed out.
In a dramatic turn that just showed a continued refusal to accept responsibility, she revoked that plea at the scheduled sentencing hearing. She claimed she was innocent and forced the prosecution to pursue the maximum charge.
And they were ready for it.
They were ready. They successfully argued that the extreme planning, proven by the toxic cleanup, the use of multiple tools, and the calculated disposal of the remains, met the threshold for first-degree murder.
And in November 2025, the jury agreed. Devyn Michaels was found guilty of first-degree murder. The case hinged entirely on proving this was not a crime of passion.
but a planned, rational execution designed to clear the single obstacle from her desired life path.
The verdict provided legal closure, but for the Willett family, the cost is just astronomical. The victim's remains are incomplete. His head has never been recovered, scattered somewhere among millions of tons of refuse in the Nevada desert.
It's a testament to the chilling, calculated violence employed by the person who is both his lover and his daughter-in-law.
So if we look at the key takeaways here for you, the insights are pretty clear.
First, the forensic strategy hinges on proof of calculation, and you see that here with the use of highly toxic chloramine gas to proactively destroy evidence.
Right. And second, the legal victory wasn't secured by finding the missing body part. It was secured by proving that the act of removing and disposing of it, that act itself constituted premeditation and malice.
Exactly. And finally, this case just demonstrates how deep strategic betrayal, that perverse triangulation of the family dynamic, can be the ultimate engine for a chillingly rational murder.
So what does this all mean beyond the verdict? It raises an important question, about the nature of justice and closure. When a perpetrator takes such deliberate physical measures to make the victim incomplete, to ensure a portion of the body is permanently lost, what deeper psychological need does that final horrifying act fulfill?
It's more than just avoiding prison.
It has to be. When you deny a family the ability to recover and inter the complete remains, what does the permanent loss of the victim's anatomical integrity truly mean for the concept of justice? Think about the lasting power of that ultimate act of concealment.